Hello, welcome, Mei-Ling, to our conversation. I'm very proud to have you joining us this afternoon. To those who don't know her, Mey-Ling Perez is an FIU Master of Science in Finance alumna, and she has an exceptional career in finance. She's currently Senior Vice President of First Horizon Bank, right?
Yes.
And I look forward talking today about your journey. Also hear from fresh out of the oven insights about how you see the finance industry and see what's on Mei-Ling's world today and what's happening. And so you can share all those interesting things with our current students, alumni, prospective students. There's a lot to share here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christina. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So my first question, I want people to know about you. So could you share your journey? What's your personal and professional journey?
Absolutely. So I have a double major from FIU. I did my undergrad in finance, and then I proceeded to do the master's program also from FIU. I originally entered my banking career on the credit underwriting side, working through the Export-Import Bank of the United States, helping international companies establish relationships with multinational firms here in the US. That was a very fun period of time that really opened my eyes on how global of a world we're living in, really. And then I proceeded to move into the private banking space. I worked for the Northern Trust Company for a little over 8 years, focused on private banking, helping high net worth individuals, foundations, families, corporations with lending needs, wealth management, and trust services. And then about 8 years ago, I moved to Sabadell Bank, which through merger and acquisition has become First Horizon. So I'm in the same office, and I manage pretty much the Brickell market for private banking. Again, fully focused on, advising those high net worth individuals and companies with everything on the spectrum of banking, the lending, the wealth management, and the trust service side. So I've really continued to focus in private banking for the past almost 16 years now.
Yeah, what an exciting journey. And I'm sure you've met so many interesting people and had so many interesting situations, right, in private banking.
You
So
have no idea.
yeah, I can imagine. So on top of finance skills, you need excellent communication skills and establishing relationship with clients is key for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I would like to know what has been the moment in your career that brought you the most satisfaction?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been thinking about this over the past few years because it changes as time goes on. And 3 years ago, when we went through COVID, it was probably one of the most difficult times for most of us. I would say the entire world. We were in the middle of a global pandemic. From one day to the next, we had to pack our stuff, go home. And for folks like me that were used to working full time in an office, that was quite a change. And we really had to move quickly, to adapt quickly. And you're probably wondering, how is this bringing you joy? And I will tell you, the part that brought a lot of joy and satisfaction, if you remember back in, March, April 2020, as we were going through this pandemic, the US government created the PPP plans. It was the payroll protection program. I tell you, Christina, I probably worked 14, 16-hour days. I've never worked so hard in my life. There was a period of time where I probably was delirious. But at the end of it all, we were able to help our clients, their firms, businesses that were in the restaurant side, the hospitality side, small businesses. And, as a banking professional, a lot of the times we're so focused on, wealth management and the growth of our clients. And it was nice after so many years to be on the side of protecting our clients and helping them and being able to provide the funding for them to continue their legacy. So, although it was probably the most difficult time in my career, I tell you, I've never had such satisfaction. Once it was all said and done, I think I had a smile for 3 days straight. because it really was a very impactful period in my life. I think it was for a lot of folks, but in my space, I just never thought I was able to make a difference as much as I did that period of time.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very intense moments, and people might not think how finance
Yeah.
professionals were highly involved on that, but there was a lot of kind of back end work
Oh,
involved.
oh, indeed.
Yeah. So COVID definitely was challenging, but is there anything in your career that you could say, oh, this was the most difficult part of my job, or
Yeah.
one of the most difficult situations?
Yeah, I think when it comes to difficulty, we're in finance, so we've learned how to evolve. We know there's volatility in the market. We know there's a lot of competition. We know every day we have a different disruptor. So I think as a finance professional, we sort of grow a bit of a thick skin and we're able to maneuver. But I would say a very difficult part of my job, and it could expand to different other industries, I would say is the management piece of it. I think when you're leading a team, you're handling different personalities. Everyone has a different outlook in life. Everybody has different goals. And you could come in any day to a slew of different situations that you need to tackle. So although I enjoy the mentoring part and I am thrilled every time my team is moving in the right direction and we're meeting our goals together, I will say that is the most difficult part of my job, to continue to motivate a group that are all different. We all have our strength, we all have our different weakness. To be able to move them in the right direction is definitely by far the most challenging thing I've ever had to do in my career.
Interesting. Yeah, no, definitely the human nature, it's one of the most challenging things for any organization. I mean, there are entire departments, HR departments, who have to figure it out, and still we're trying to figure it out. So the finance industry, is constantly evolving, as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and right now there is a lot of change coming, right? Probably, and as an expert, obviously you cannot predict the future, but what are the challenges you foresee in the near future in the industry, or yes, anything you think it's important for us to keep an eye on?
I think a lot of the challenges and the disruptions are already here. Right now, one of the things I would mention I'm seeing every day, and most of the folks in this industry, our competitors, our counterparts are seeing it as well, which tends to happen right before there is, whether you call this a potential mild recession, an adjustment in the market, an adjustment in the economy. There usually tends to be a heightened security and fraud situation. So right now, I would say cybersecurity and fraud is something that is disrupting everyone in the finance world. That goes between like mail being intercepted, checks. They are very involved. Artificial intelligence has now comes into place when it comes to fraud. The very simple, you have an inheritance in Nigeria no longer seems to be it. Now there's very intricate artificial intelligence tools that are being used for fraud. So I would say that is most certainly a challenge in the industry. It's a challenge for us. It's a challenge for our clients as well, because I think most of the banks have the right security tools in place, but now our clients are being targeted. So education through this period of fraud, through this period of adjustment as we go into a potential like economic change or economic downturn, is very important. I think we'll continue to see more competition in the digital space. I think that is here to stay and it will continue to evolve. And if I had to pick a third one that I think is very prevalent in the Miami market, I would say is probably talent retention and management. We talked about COVID earlier. I think the world has changed. I think talent wants to have the right balance between work and life. People want to work from home. People want to have flexibility. And I think in the finance world, we need to continue to evolve and adapt so we can meet certain needs of this talent pool that is out there. So I do believe that talent retention and management is going to be key going on to 2024 and moving forward.
Right. And there is a lot of international banks in Miami, so the
Mm.
competition for top talent probably it's high.
Absolutely. I mean, we have thankfully also been a great recipient of new talent coming from other states. You know, Miami is a city everybody wants to be in. But there's been a shift, I would say, in appetite from the talent pool as to how they want to carry their day to day. And as financial firms, I think we need to adapt to it. I do think the world has changed, and we do need to make some tweaks here and there to stay relevant.
Right, right. Yeah. Perhaps it's just all a matter of how we measure success, right? And the new ways we measure it. So maybe you've achieved extreme success in the field of finance, business. So what's next for you once you reach those highs?
Oh God. Well, right now, I mean, I still continue to be very focused on my role. As I lead the Brickle market, I want to continue to grow. But on a personal note, I'm trying, Christina, to use both sides of my brain. So I'm trying to use both hemispheres. And a project right now that I'm very excited about is my first book, which is currently in pre-sale now in Amazon, in Barnes and Nobles, in Books and Books. It is releasing on the 19th of September. And then I'm very excited to have a launch party at Books and Books on the 23rd. It is a Spanish book in my native tongue. It is poetry and prose, and it has been a project of passion. I tell you, I've poured a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love into it. So that's how I'm balancing both sides right now.
How exciting. This is such interesting news, Mei-Ling. So what made you start writing and what message you want to get across?
Yeah. So, you know, funny enough, you know, we mentioned COVID and sometimes I lose track of when COVID happened, but I've been writing my entire life. Since I was a little girl, writing was always a means of escape or balance or relaxation for me. But back in 2019, I went through a very tough period of time in my life. I was actually diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. And I sort of gravitated towards writing again. It was the way I was able to cope with the situation. I think it was the way that I was able to balance such a high stressor in my life. So this book leads the reader through three stages. I call it almost three stages in the human condition, right? Like loving, losing, and then that rebirth that happens. So for me, the message on the book um, is really that no matter what's going on in your life, whether it's personal, career oriented, family matters, you know, we have the ability as humans to adapt, to come back stronger. I always think that we're able to, like, if you look at it in a positive spin, those little cracks that happen in your heart through like loss, you could fill it in and you could come back with a lot of magic and even stronger than before. So the cover of the book, funny enough, is based on the art of kintsugi, which, if you're not aware, is a Japanese art that puts back together pieces of, it could be porcelain, and they fill in the cracks with gold, with silver. And that's really what I see with this book and the message on how you could come back just stronger, with more desire to take on the world, to take on your life, and really with a lot more magic.
Such a relevant message, and I think I like the fact that even though you are broken, you put pieces together, you don't become a more bitter person or or broken, right?
Not at
It's
all.
about
Yeah.
getting better,
It-
about
It's
being
about
more energized.
absolutely. I mean, even, and that's why I thought that the cover with this inspiration on kintsugi was so important to the message I was trying to get through, because these objects usually end up having a higher value. They're even more beautiful than they were before. So I think that's what happens to us in the human condition. We do become more beautiful as we go through different stages of life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And for all of those who are going through challenges, it's good to hear that message, because there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to become a better version of you. So I can't wait to read it. And
Thank you.
so, yes, September 19th, you said, right? The
Yes,
date.
September 19th is
Can you?
launching,
Yeah.
and then there's an event at Books and Books September 23rd.
What is the name in Spanish? So whoever
Of
is interested
course,
can find it.
of course. The name in Spanish is Amar, Perder y Renacer.
Amar, perder y renacer. Very, very nice, Mey-Ling, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think this is a great opportunity because it makes you look at the world through a different lens. Probably it gives you also a chance to take a break, right, from work. So in your opinion, what are the benefits of practicing a form of art, especially for those who are very focused on the business world?
Yeah, yeah, I tell you, I mean, I think we are all, whether it's business, whether it's other industries, we're very highly focused right now. You know, you even mentioned that earlier, it's a very competitive period in the finance world. We live in a very fast-paced world where an email is sent and a response is almost deemed necessary immediately. So for anyone that's in this fast-paced system where, you know, we're almost working like machines, I think that um, focusing on art, focusing, expanding your creativity almost gives you like a meditative period of time that helps you rest your mind. It energizes you. You know, in my particular case, it makes me really happy. So the way I think about it is if I'm happy, my team benefits, my employees benefit, and then my clients definitely benefit. So it's really been the way that I balance out my life. And it gives me different perspectives, I think, onto the world instead of just, you know, focusing on one thing and almost running the chance of burning myself out.
Right. Yeah. Getting burnt out definitely is a reality people are facing,
Mhm.
and yes, I think we have to be very intentional and make time for those moments of re-energize ourselves. So I'm very happy you have the talent to write, right?
Oh,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. But if we are not good at writing, I think even walking, appreciating nature, or
Yeah.
going to museums, or watching a movie that you would never watch, right? Like something that is out of your everyday routine, that's important to incorporate.
Yeah, I think anytime we're trying new activities, I think the brain is connecting in ways that it wouldn't connect before. I think part of what we need to continue to do is, you know, stay active, try to stay youthful, and wherever that takes you, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, whether it's like you said, taking a walk on the beach, I think that's extremely important for us to stay energized.
And all the opportunities to meet new, wonderful, interesting people, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, Mei-Ling, anything else you want to share with us?
I just want to thank you for the time. It's really exciting to talk to you. I think, you know, FIU has been such an important part of my life. It's certainly been an important part of my career. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to have this chat with me today.
My pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you here at FIU. So yes, thank you, Mei-Ling.
Thank you, Christina.